So I think the Aeropress actually has potential to have one of the best flavors while having the most clarity. So I've been working around with the Aeropress. I wanted to make a video close to like Black Friday, about 5-6 months ago, but I couldn't figure it out. Now I can. So let me show you guys one of my new techniques. I think with this, we have actually made one of the best coffees ever. It's very easy. You leave the Aeropress at the 3, then you just pour your grinds in. I grind them, relatively fine as always. And then I give it a quick stir. So to stir, you just kind of breaking up the clumps as always. And then from there, I use, you can use boiling water if you want. Actually, the water temperature matters a lot less than you think in the Aeropress. And that's because the gases are always at the top. It releases more wide. And if you pour slowly, you're not going to really burn anything. With the Aeropress, you also have a full immersion. So you can just pour down the middle and then use a chopstick like I do to kind of do all the agitation for you. Now, I know I'm supposed to use a scale and everything, but you know the volume if you actually leave it at the right amount. So I'm just going to fill this to the top. There's a couple of things I want to show you guys. One is just how much gas it takes up in space. You can see this is already filled to the top. And what I'm going to do now is just give it a quick stir. And I do want to stir all the way to the bottom to make sure everything is fully agitated. We're just going to give that a minute or two while I talk about this. So in a sense, I think the Aeropress is great, especially this one, because you can see what's going on. So there's a couple of things I want you guys to notice is as it sinks, all the larger granulars kind of fall first. And then you follow down with the finers once. And normally, I would think that the fines sink first, but in this case, you can see that it's quite uniform. But I'm going to show you guys a really cool thing. So as it's sinking, you can already see that there's a lot more room growing at the top. About 5% to 10% is the gases itself. I always talk about how you want the gases to sink for everything to kind of fully extract, or the beans. And that is because if the beans have not sank, that just means water has not penetrated to the middle, and there's gases that are making it lighter and stay afloat. So you always want to make sure your beans sink, whether it's pour over or for Aeropress. Now that I've fully agitated everything, we're just going to let that sink. And you can see that the beans sink a lot faster this time. So once it sinks to the bottom, you could do whatever you want. You could fill it up to the top again. I'm not going to. I can see most of the grinds have already reached there. I'm going to show you guys something. When you swirl, this is what happens. You loosen up all the grinds, and then you have these microfines that actually sit at the very top. And so you're encouraging all the microfines to move to the top. And when that happens, is especially in pour-overs, you're going to get clogging. And you're going to get over extraction of the microfines. So I don't generally recommend swirling. Whereas in the Aeropress, this actually has a different function. In the Aeropress, because it creates this little finer line, it makes it harder for water to pass through or anything to flow through, which creates a bit of a tension seal. So once we let that sit, we're going to do another quick run, quick movement. You can see that it just gets thicker and thicker of these microfines, and that's going to help us release the liquids from underneath up. And then when that happens, we're going to be able to kind of have a more compact puck. So what I do now is when I was thinking about this, I was like, is there a way for me to kind of keep the grinds down here so that when I flip it over, the grinds stay at the top, and then the water doesn't ever have to pass through the grinds. Now, if you watched my Pure Over video, Pure Over is this dripper that has no filter in it. But if you pour very slowly with their kind of drip assist, then you'll notice that none of the liquid that comes through, even though there's no filter, is very, very clear, which to me signifies that the coffee beans are actually, acting more as a filter than the paper filter itself. The paper filter is just to hold the grinds from coming out. So anyways, yeah. When that happened, when I thought about that, I was like, what if there's a way for me to kind of keep the puck at the top? This way the liquid up here never passes through and all the oils don't have to pass through the grinds. And in return, we're going to have one of the heaviest oiled cup of coffees. And in my experience, when we cook, we say that the fat is the flavor. So you don't want the oils to be reabsorbed by the grinds. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to lift it. So from the 3, we're just going to lift it all the way. And then you can see that the microfines just kind of sink to the bottom. And it creates this like seal. And we're just going to let that sit for a quick second. And here, I'm just going to grab my cup. We're going to put the, I've got the filter already in there. We're going to put the filter in here, screw the cap on, flip it upside down, and then just do your casual press, okay? But you'll see that the puck remains at the top. And this allows me to have one of the heaviest in terms of flavor, like the most oils pass through, because our beans are not reabsorbing the fats. And then the crema stays up there. If you want a bit of the bitterness, you can press it through. If you don't want the bitterness, you can just leave it. So once it gets to the paper filter, I'm just going to stop because I don't want the bitterness to pass through. And this is how you create one of the, in my opinion, best tasting coffees ever. It's such a simple method. You just literally wait. There's no skill. There's no scale required. You can dilute, put some bypass, whatever it is, and just drink. So you get one of the best flavors. It's, yeah, I don't know. Am I onto something? I mean, you guys should just try it out. Let me know. I don't use the Aeropress a lot, but this is one of the best cups of coffees that I've brewed with such little skill. I mean, obviously, if you like a more clear cup of coffee, you could probably pull it a little bit less or pull it a little bit slower so that more grinds, like half the grinds sink and half the grinds don't. And this way you can have, you know, maybe a cleaner cup of coffee, less oils pass through, but still some of the oils pass through. It's just more flavored, more bodied. Even after diluting so much, there's still a lot of body in this coffee. So let me know what you guys think. Happy brewing!